Welcome to yet another episode of Compas F.C. Again, folks, reminding you guys that this week Champions League is back. So we will be doing an episode breaking down the first two games, which was Man City, Bayern Munich, Inter and Benfica. And then we will do the other Napoli, Milan, and Real Madrid, Chelsea. So be on the lookout for the rest of the episodes. I'm Fernando Ramirez, Eddie Rodriguez, J.C. Cervantes with me as always. J.C., how are you doing today?
Crazy games, huh? Crazy games, crazy results. I don't think a lot of people are expecting them to go this far in, but here we are. One more leg to go, and nothing's over till it's over.
CBS Golazo and ESPN FC, I think, are very happy right now. Eddie, how are you doing?
Let's get it going. It's Champions Week. It's always great when it's Champions Week.
It definitely is. Makes the week go by faster, I think, because you have something to look forward to in the middle of the week, I guess. But let's kick it off right now. As soon as we got it, Man City beat Bayern 3-0 in the first leg. Obviously, there was Rodrigo had a really nice goal. Haaland was really an animal in the box. He was moving around, doing different things to try and get guys open. He had a great assist. Then he had a nice goal himself. Obviously, it was Thomas Tuchel's first Champions League matchup since joining Bayern. I think he's won one game. He's lost two now. So it's interesting to see in a small sample size everything that's piled up on him because of the firing that they did. It's kind of a bad look on Byron. I think the federation, not on him. I think he's trying to do as much as he can, but definitely interesting. But Eddie, let's start off with you. What did you think about this matchup?
It started back and forth, right? I think Bayern had a couple of chances there. I think Musiala had one of the most clear chances in the first half. Where any other situation, I think he buries that. But credit to Man City, they were able to absorb the pressure and really be on the front foot the entire game. That Rodrigo goal came out of nowhere. Really, you hear the crowd, saying shoot, and he shoots, and what a strike. Erling gets his goal, of course, and Bernardo Silva, which I thought was player of the match for them. He looked pretty lively, and I think Pep got his lineup right this time by not playing Mahrez, playing Bernardo Silva, and playing Jack Grealish on the other side. That definitely helped alleviate some of that playmaking effort on Haaland, where Haaland was more used as a big body, pressure on top. But again, you could also say that John Stones had a game, and I was really impressed with John Stones. He looked like he had command of the defense the entire time. It looked like he's the leader of the back line. And if this is a John Stones that Pep's going to get moving forward, then, it's going to be real tough for Bayern to surmount any type of comeback. I think Thomas Tuchel got his tactics wrong. You have Mueller and Sane on the bench, and you went with Narby and the Sane. Sane. Yeah, Sane. So I don't know what was happening there, if they're coming off injuries or whatnot, but I thought that was wrong. I thought you should have started Mueller and Mane, maybe bench Sane and Gnabry and have them come in the second half and see what they could offer. But let's not count them out. Anything can happen. We've seen Pep bottle a lot of leads in the past. Why not another one? And if anyone can do it, it's Thomas Tuchel. So I don't count Bayern out on this one.
JC, what did you make of this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see anything too wrong with starting off some faster players in the front. I think he was really trying to just play Chelsea style against Man City, to be honest with you. I don't think it's really a foe that he isn't familiar with. So I think with going towards a Mueller, you're looking for somebody to come off the bench to be able to really kind of just neutralize and do their part, but they're not going to keep up with the pace of the game. Like, you're expecting a City to just go nonstop, run, run, run. And that's what happened. And honestly, Thomas kept up for the most part pretty well, I think. And they had a lot of constant waves that you weren't seeing with Nagelsmann before. So that was obviously a good thing to see. But, when the goal kind of comes at you from long range, and it's just really the only way City could break down the Bayern defense at that time. It was just really just a long shot goal was really the only way they were going to get in there. And when you look at the way they scored the other goals, just off of broken plays and rebounds, and they're just kind of just scattered plays. The only real, I guess you could say, quality goal was the one from Rodrigo. The other one was just other two were just off of rebounds and broken plays, and that's just football for you. You know, anything can happen in a 90-minute game, and any rebound can go your way, and it's going to knock in. They did push up the lines well. City did get wide, and they stayed wide, and they applied a lot of pressure to some not so fast Bayern defense, and you saw it come through at the end. They just overran them, but it's just going to come down to fitness. I feel like for them and John Stones, the quality's always been there. You've seen it come through for England multiple times, and you always kind of question when is he going to play like that for his home club, and you saw it today. Big players step up in big games, and he was really their savior, and he gave their backline a lot of stability. But Grealish really just showed up really well, I would say too. He was just linking. He threw all his eggs in one basket, to be honest, and that's really all he had left to do in Pep. And it's Bayern's gonna have to come out swinging, and they're gonna have to find a way to attack as much as possible without conceding goals, and that's almost nearly impossible when you got to play against the likes of Man City with a Haaland who can beat anybody in a one-on-one race, and one long ball could change the game for them come second leg.
And it's funny. That's what Eddie said before. He's like, Pep treats Jack Grealish like trash. Then all of a sudden, oh, save me, Jack. And Jack ends up putting up a
Jack
good
stays
game.
delivering, man.
That's
honestly,
the usual.
Like, it's just what happens. That's the type of player he is. Like, I wanted him at United when he was leaving Aston Villa. I thought, he's that type of player that doesn't, get little in the big moments, and he's always rising up to the occasion. But I think two more things I wanted to point out about this game. As the game went on, Upamecano was really a liability for De Ligt.
He looked like, what he looked like?
He was defending by himself back there.
He looked like Varane from a couple of years ago when Real Madrid played Man City. Remember, Varane gave up like 2 or 3 goals. That's exactly what he looked like.
Whatever the case was, right? I think Upamecano definitely left a lot to be desired. But then again, my other point is, I don't know if many people picked up on this, but Bayern really missed Manuel Neuer because a lot of their build-up play has to do with playing back to the keeper. Yeah. And Neuer was the best at that. He was the one that can, start plays, great with his feet. Sommer's just not that guy. And you saw on multiple occasions where they were trying to play the ball back. And every time that Sommer was touching the ball, it almost looked like they were going to score because he's just that bad with his feet. So, those are 2 takeaways for sure, that if you're Bayern, regardless of whatever troubles you've been having with Manuel Neuer and him skiing and being disobedient, this and that, like, is there another goalie in the market that you can go for that has that type of capability? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I'm pretty sure there's one they're going to want, but they're not going to get him. And, Bayern's going to try to keep a German goalkeeper back there that plays well with his feet. You know where he is, and, he's tied down the same way the other guy was tied down. They're going to extort him and force him to stay there. So you know how that's going to end. And
give it to him?
You're crazy. We said a guy that plays with his feet, bro. Ter Stegen. He's never leaving Barcelona. They're going to extort him the same way they did. But, I mean, of course, it's expected to see Upamecano and those guys be struggling in 1v1s. I mean, they went all up forward, and they're going to try to attack, and they're never going to stop attacking. And I think if Bayern Munich calling,
he would want to leave?
It's not a matter of him wanting to leave. It's Frankie de Jong all over again. And that's really what's going to end up happening with all those guys because they got nothing left in the tank other than these last-minute shining stars. And this is kind of it. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel, and they're probably not going to get any more quality after these guys for a long time just because of the fair play rules they got to play by. But Bayern, shout out them for fighting till the end. They never got little. They're really a away team. They kept fighting, something to hang your head on. And it's only Thomas's, third game?
Third game.
And, and it's a whole new squad. They're going to play a few other games, and they're going to tune a few things. But, Sadio coming back could do some things for you. But it's just going to be tough, to get 3 back in the same succession. But if City could get 2, I guess you could say lucky goals just off a broken plays, Bayern could do it also. They definitely got the firepower.
Eddie, was this more about Bayern kind of losing it, or was it Man City beating them? Because I thought Bayern had a lot of really nice chances. The one thing is, at one point in the second half, they just kept on shooting from distance, which some of them were nice shots, and I thought Ederson did a nice job blocking them. But it kind of felt like they needed to build up more and kind of try and bring it in. But when you don't have a striker in the middle, it kind of hurts you that way. But did you feel it was more about Bayern losing this game?
Well, I think Narby was not helping the team out at all first half. Yeah. But as I was mentioning, like the first goal came from a broken play where Musiala does not finish. and then City go on the counter, and that's where the goal comes from. It's a long shot, but it was a great long shot by Rodri. Let's not be wrong, but let's give credit to Man City, I guess. It pains me to say it, but they stuck to Pep's game plan for once, and Pep didn't tinker a little too much and go mad, and this was the result of it. If you're Bayern and you're Thomas Tuchel, I mean, you look back at the game, and yeah, you had chances. Yeah, you had the opportunities to maybe strike first, but you go into the next games thinking like, okay, what went wrong? What do I need to improve on? And I think for sure you don't start Narby at your striker position. You start either Mueller or Choupo-Moting, and then you have to start Sadio Mane. There's no way around it.
Cancelo?
And I would even say as far as saying you need to start Cancelo, because Davies had a really poor showing. Really poor showing. He's been poor since the World Cup ended. So, maybe if you're Thomas Tuchel, you bench Davies and you bring on Cancelo.
JC, it looked like you wanted to say something.
I'm shooting at Ederson all day. The guy's shown that his hands aren't, to be trusted. So if they can score spilled ball goals, then why not them too, right? You were just really at that point looking to get one out of nowhere, the same way City was getting their goals. But realistically, I don't think Pep had much left to tinker. I mean, he started Haaland, Grealish, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Silva, Rodri, Stones, Ake, Diaz, Kanji. He threw his whole
And Foden
possible.
is injured, so
He threw everything he could. I mean, who did he leave on the bench? Carson, Phillips, Walker, Lewis, Mares, Gomez, Peron, Laporte, Palmer, Ortega. He had nothing left there. I mean, he subbed on Julian Alvarez for De Bruyne, and that was the only sub he made because there's no other subs to be made. So now the big question mark here is match fitness. You're going to go back and play Premier League. You're going to play other cups, and you're going to play these same players. Are they going to be available? You're really now praying to not
playing
pick
Arsenal
at the end
of the month. So
and it's very difficult. Right? And the second leg is a little bit of a ways away when you're talking how many games you're playing in between this match, and it's going to be a very difficult, depth. This is basically the same squad he started over the weekend, also with Stones at defensive mid. And they of course move around tactically and they'll push up, and it ends up being a back line of 4 or 5 in some ways.
Well, they play actually next week, so the second leg is next week already.
And they're still going to play a few matches, and that's just a quick turnaround time. If you like Stones, Rodri pick up an injury, now your defensive mid is going to be who? Phillips.
Man City this weekend play at Leicester City,
and you could try and throw out an alternate squad, but are you really going to wave the white flag in the Premier League? When they just dropped points in Arsenal out of nowhere versus Liverpool and they bottled it, you really don't. You can't afford to not go for a potential double and the ultimate double when it comes to Premier League football, a league and the Champions, and you got that right there in your grasps. You got a big decision to make this weekend, and then it's just too fast of a turnaround time with all the games they've been playing. You're basically going to have to be running this same exact squad for the next 2 games. And can the players keep up? How will he come out and line up? Is he going to sit back and defend a 3-0 lead? Because I don't think you do versus a Bayern Munich team. You can't sit back. Madrid has seen, anybody has seen, Bayern's never going to stop attacking no matter how many goals you score on them. So if you sit back and welcome them to attack you, doesn't matter who's playing striker for them. They're just going to overwhelm you with wave after wave after wave. And they showed it today, and it's Thomas's second game. I'm not saying he's going to be fixing everything in 2 games, but it depends also how City's going to play and will injuries come into play. You hope, if you're Bayern, they do. But, as a neutral supporter, you want to see the best 11 on both outsides out. But it's tough to say because that's all they got left. He literally just threw all his eggs in one game, and let's see what happens. And they got the result. Leg 2, Pep's a little shaky.
One question for each of you. I'm going to start off with JC. JC, the fact that they've bottled against Tottenham, they bottled against Real Madrid last year, does that kind of give Bayern a little bit of hope? Like, hey, we just need to go in there, get 2 quick goals, scare them, and because I mean, let's be honest, Man City does not have the comeback history of like a Real Madrid where like something could happen if Madrid has their back to the wall like it did last year against Chelsea. Against Man City, they can come back and win. Man City doesn't really have that, especially going into Bayern. So do you feel like Bayern kind of should feel at least a little bit okay going into this? Like they should feel a little bit hopeful?
the thing about Bayern is they're never going to hang their head. They won't look at a score line. They're going to look at a result, and it's just like the German national team. They could be down 2-0, 3-0 until the last whistle blows. They're not going to stop attacking. They know no other way, and that's why they went with Thomas over Nagelsmann, because they were missing that kind of offensive firepower. Just watching 2 games with Thomas Tuchel, you see a night and day difference from the previous gaffer, and it's not a coincidence that they went with Thomas because of the way they attack. The only reason why I would say a Madrid was able to come out of nowhere is because they have a Benzema. Bayern doesn't really have a Benzema type player that you can point out and be like, this is going to be the guy that we have to feed. This is going to be the guy that's going to
They're
get
gonna
us
have to
these
rely on their
goals.
quickness.
They're going to have to rely on the wings. They're going to have to attack in bunches, and they're going to have to, be first to everything. First on the tackle, first on the shot, first on the rebound. Don't let them turn, play high press. Can they keep up with them? That's going to be a tough one, but how will City respond? Because, Pep always overthinks absolutely every single thing in his life. This one wasn't that difficult. Just throw everything you got and go for it. If he does it again, I don't know. Did lightning strike in a bottle? Is he finally going to be able to get and close out a result and silence a few critics? It's tough to say, man. There's a lot of question marks, but I don't think Bayern hang their head at all. They're more than capable of. You've seen how fast and how quick they beat Borussia Dortmund in the
Yeah,
the German Classico, and they
eight to
bagged three
two, eight to
goals
two
in the
against
first half.
Barca.
They bagged 3 goals in the first half and 3 and 30, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah,
there's definitely a chance there.
Eddie. Real quick answer on the same question I asked JC. Second, did you think Kevin De Bruyne had I thought he had kind of one of his poorest games I think I've seen in a while from him. I didn't think he looked.
Fatigue, bro.
He didn't look healthy, and I think he looked a little bit exhausted. He just kept on getting run over. He was on the ground half of the game.
I mean, Bayern has a chance. I think they'll pull it off. I think they'll end up winning the game actually. So there you go, locking it in. You heard it here first. But Kevin De Bruyne, I think is just he's been ran to the ground, man.
Bad,
Honestly, he's
bad.
not really had any player to rotate his position when he's been at City this entire time. And for throughout the season, he hasn't been 100%. So I'm wondering if he's been playing with a knock or barely making match fitness. But if you're Pep, that's definitely a concern for you because if Kevin De Bruyne goes out, who's going to play that position? You don't really have another playmaker that can do that. Gundogan is not there at Kevin De Bruyne's level. As good as Gundogan is, I don't think he can play there.
His best
Bernardo
years are
Silva is
past him.
much better on the wing than through the center. But also, like, I think John Stones may have picked up a knock too. So again, match fitness questions will rise, and was just up to Pep and whatever he decides to do over the weekend when he plays in the Premier League.
Okay, well that was all we have for that. Let's move on now. Inter beat Benfica 2-0. Eddie, what did you think about this matchup?
Typical Italian performance. Defend with 11 and attack with 3. Um, let's be real. Benfica been hot all season. I think they've only lost like twice the entire season. This third time they lose, I believe. Twice in the league and then just one time in Champions League. I'm a little surprised that Benfica didn't, bury some of the chances they had early on. Rafa had a chance. Gonzalo Ramos was a little anonymous. Um, João Mario looked like he was a rejuvenated player, even though he gave up that cheap pen. But shout out Inter, they got dogs out there like Bastoni. What a player, dude. Center back, left back, wherever you want to play the guy. Responsible almost for both goals, I would say, in a sense. Ijeko starting over
And then
Lukaku, no
defense.
surprise there. Lautaro had a quiet game. I think for sure the X factors for Inter were, Bastoni down the left, and Onana finally had a decent showing for them. Can they maintain this though? That's the big question. Are they going to go back and hunker down at the San Siro and defend with 11? With this Benfica team, I don't know if you want to do that because they are explosive. They can score multiple goals. So if Gonzalo Ramos takes that last chance at the very end of the game we're talking about a whole new game and a different dynamic going into game 2 where you're down a goal. So we'll see. Little lackluster, but the potential is there for there to be fireworks in game 2.
JC, what did you think?
They are who we thought they were. Honestly, this is what you expect to see from an Inter team. Nothing too different from last week, or sorry, last Champions League showing. And I'm not against it. I love to see it, man. Dirty, grindy games, just grind it out. Make the other team beat you. Make the other team do something to get you out of your game plan and to show that they have the quality to knock your defense off. The goal was quality. Shout out Varela, team captain through and through. A pretty quiet kept midfielder there that a lot of people overlook when you're talking, some of the better box to box midfielders in the world. And he's really starting to raise his hand as a potential candidate to just basically run almost any midfield on any team. And with good reason. I mean, you've seen the goal today. That's only, you could call that a captain's goal in many ways because of the way the team just rallied behind it. And that's the perfect scenario for them. Score early in the first half and grind it out. If you get a second goal, you get a second goal. And to get a second goal as a pen, and that's really demoralizing for a Benfica team who's playing at home. And shout out them for making it this far in the Champions League run. But do they really expect and we're seeing themselves be this far in this far the stages? I feel like mentally they still could have done a little bit better. Looking back at it, but like you guys said, a lot of missed opportunities, a cheap pen that was given up. A lot of players trying to do more than they have to in some instances. But shout out Inter. Serie A football, I would say, is back. Napoli's firing, Juve. Their better days are past them, but Inter's making a run here. And you got I saw Roma still in Europa League. Inter's here. There was two
Milan.
other. Milan is
Milan and
still in
Napoli.
Europa
Napoli.
League. It's still there. Milan, Napoli still. Serie A teams are doing it, and nobody's talking about them. They don't spend as much money as other teams, so shout out them and credit where it's due. They're doing a lot with what they have, and they're handling business. And I like to see it because when Serie A is firing, you got a whole different kind of football coming through the world because they give a lot of players the opportunity to play that you don't normally see play for these type of teams like a Bayern or a Premier League team or even the Spanish team. You get some grimy, dirty players like you'll never see a Varela play in a Bayern Munich usually, and you compare those kind of quality players that they have, and they just give your whole football a whole different type of feel and show to it.
Yeah, definitely agree. And either one of you think that Benfica can come back from this?
Nope.
I do.
We're gonna
I,
go locked
I,
down.
I honestly think that Benfica can definitely give Inter a run for their money. Inter's form in the league has been extremely poor.
They're all in on
they were
Champions
bound
League,
to
man.
win it. They were bound to win a game like here and there.
Hey,
I
who's
don't think
second place Serie A?
I don't think the performance they gave was anything but convincing. Right? They're not second place. I'll tell you that right now.
No. But who is? Hey, that guy, huh? But no, honestly, I mean that's what you expect from Inter. Though.
The next
It's
Madrid
nothing more,
coach is
nothing
out
less.
there working
He's in third place.
wonders.
They're in third
Nothing
place.
more, nothing less.
That's fine.
You expect from Inter. You expect these dirty, grimy results, bro, and it's great. I don't think Benfica is gonna break down 2 lines of 5 in San Siro. Like you're going back to Italy to beat Inter at home.
I think they can. I think they can. I think Inter have shown that they're a fragile team, and if you strike first and you strike early, that's going to put a lot of pressure on them. And again, you have an
Strike
aging
hard, strike fast,
Dzeko.
Cobra Kai.
You have a Lukaku
Get
who
him a
can't even
body
get the
bag.
kid on the team, and he's on the bench. You got an Asian.
He's on the stat sheet today. He's on the stat sheet today.
He get a
Lukaku bag of
penalty.
gold
Now
today?
we're good. Okay, so just remember that.
What did you say? What do you say?
Remember
He's
that.
gonna finish.
Remember
He's gonna
that.
finish.
Okay.
He's gonna score him.
Just remember
He's
that.
gonna
Remember
score
that.
him.
Okay.
Don't let it be Rashford
So-
getting the penalty. You'd be losing your top.
Real quick
There you go.
before
Look at you.
before I let you guys go, so CBS Golazo ended up doing their predictions
Oh God.
for the rest of the Champions League.
And
So
they all
as you
had
can tell,
Benfica.
all three of the male I can't remember all their names right now off the top of my head. All three of the dudes on there, they all chose the same thing: Manchester City versus Napoli final. Man City, all three of them. Man City wins. Pep gets his flowers. There was one brave soul though that did not choose that. Let's go to that now.
Who's kudos? Let's see here. Of course.
Mine is also a little bit different. Real Madrid are the champions for me. Anything else to note here? I got Real Madrid going past Chelsea, Man City past Bayern. Yeah, Real Madrid, Napoli in the final. Real Madrid.
What about Frank Lampard, bro?
Real Madrid.
Wow.
Yeah, the team who won it 14 times. Well done.
Oh, excuse me.
He's so salty. Why he's so salty?
So,
Virgil.
I mean, are these teams ever gonna learn? Like, are these guys ever gonna learn? Like, they do the same thing every single year. Every single year, it's always Pep and I'm not talking about Real Madrid. I'm talking about individually. They always go Pep, Man City, Pep, Man City, Pep, Man City. So I'm gonna let you guys predict the rest of this. You guys are experts, and so I'm gonna let you guys. So I'm gonna go. Eddie, you go first. Real Madrid, Chelsea.
Madrid.
All right. Man City, Bayern.
Bayern.
Ooh. Milan, Napoli.
Napoli.
Benfica, Inter.
Still think Benfica's gonna win, man. Benfica.
Ooh. Benfica, Napoli.
Napoli.
Real Madrid, Bayern.
Madrid.
Who was the winner?
Napoli.
All right, there you go. So that's Eddie's. So I'm gonna put that down. Let's see. Let me screenshot that as Eddie's. And now I'm gonna restart. All right, JC.
It's gonna be very similar. I get away. Give me my crisps. The only thing you're changing for me is gonna be Inter down at the bottom is beating out Benfica, but they're still losing to Napoli, and Madrid's winning the final. Other than that, I'm the same.
So you have Real Madrid winning it?
Yeah, and then Inter knocking out Benfica. So it'd be Napoli versus Inter there if you really want to go that far. But yeah, that right there, I don't know. I've seen too many Bayern and German football comebacks to count them out at any given time. So, and I've seen enough pet bottling master classes. So, but Sir Ancelotti, masterclass. I've co-signed him a long time ago. Can't stop co-signing the man now. And he's got a lot of aces he could play. And he's already waved the white flag on La Liga, or has he? Stuff coming there. Get ready, boys. But yeah, I think I'm gonna just have to roll with what's her name?
Kate.
Yeah, we're gonna have to roll with Kate on this one.
I'm gonna go
doing it again.
I'm gonna go Man City. I'm gonna say Man City end up winning. Real Madrid, Man City, and then obviously same thing. Real Madrid beat Napoli. I agree with you. I think the reason
it's a tough game, though. I'd love to see that final, though. Honestly, that Napoli deserves to be there, and it definitely be a perfect.
It's gonna be a dogfight.
They obviously, and then I saw a report today that Ancelotti hasn't been happy with the because Real Madrid has been. They threw out coaches' names the last few days. I think I saw Poch, I saw Xavi, and I saw Zidane, and they said that he's not happy about that they're throwing out those names. He's like, dude, we've basically won everything you could win. Like if they win the Copa del Rey, Camavinga's already won every single trophy you could win at Real Madrid as a 20-year-old in 2 seasons. So I mean, if he literally wins the Copa del Rey, and then
people didn't want Ancelotti, huh? That's
if he wins
crazy.
Copa del Rey,
some people said Ancelotti fuera, and why you're bringing in recycling
Benzi
coaches,
was too old, and
Benzema and Modric are too old. That's crazy, huh?
What else?
Y'all are funny. No. What I said is you don't want to get caught.
Like,
I didn't say
no bailes.
You don't want to get caught like other teams have gotten caught with their players and stuff. And but basically,
say no name.
If Ancelotti won the Champions League and Copa del Rey and kind of turns around and says, "All right, I'm out," like that would leave Madrid in a tough place, especially because he's basically won everything in the last 2 years. That
not really at all. I mean, he's just leaving basically where Madrid usually coaches leave on top. No Madrid.
Well, no, and that's right. Well, yeah, but that's what I meant. Like he would leave on top with like, what was it? Last year they won 4 trophies. This year he would have won 3, 4. So I mean,
and let's really call it what it is, because the bigger picture here is we still don't bring up Ancelotti enough when we talk about the best coaches ever, and that word gets thrown around very loosely these days, and they're quick to crown some coaches for spending billions of dollars on developing perfect teams, right, to fit systems and all this. But you're giving look how much Carlos spent in the transfer window. How much was Camavinga? How much was Tuchmeni? How much is who else have you brought in?
Even his first
look
go
at-
around with Madrid, they bought Toni Kroos when he was the manager. So
and then when you come and see the team he
he got
inherited, a
Casemiro.
team that was written off as they're all old, they're done, they got run into the dirt, and he comes in and wins absolutely everything. I don't know.
He goes on the best Champions League run ever by beating a stacked Chelsea team, a stacked PSG team, a stacked Man City team,
punching
getting
them all
to
in
the
the
final
mouth.
with broken players.
Well, and it's not even that
Crazy,
too.
man.
It's at the same time of like
disrespect,
knowing how to use those players, but at the same time developing like a Vinicius.
And that's
Vinicius
a real
before
coach
he
right there
came in,
for
like
you.
Vinicius was okay, but he wasn't at the level that he's been. Like
what's the testament of a great manager is, let's take Ancelotti for
developing
example.
talent.
What happened
developing talent
to
to the talent
Everton
that you have, and then being able to win at the same time.
when he left?
Shambles.
In the top 6.
Shambles.
And now they're struggling and trying to survive. The guy, like, let me take Mourinho, for example. Goes to Roma and wins their first European trophy.
With a bunch of nobodies.
Let me ask you about that.
In top 3. Come on.
So
like
we talk about how they
Mourinho
gave
like 2
Messi
more
that
years
wannabe trophy.
at Roma, and I could sincerely say that he can win the league with them.
No, let's not compare him. I think Ancelotti.
Napoli came out of nowhere and won in the league today by so many points. Like, I mean, that's Serie A for you. It just
and he built that.
one
He
good
built
run,
that Napoli team too.
Who did?
Ancelotti did.
Exactly. Thank you. And that's my point. I mean, you're gonna take players.
Laid
You
the
could really
foundation,
throw
for sure.
You could take this guy any league. Doesn't matter the players. He's gonna fine tune, pick players here and there. He's gonna manage a locker room. There's gonna be no such thing as egos when Ancelotti's around, and everybody's playing with the same mentality. Win. And
like,
that
you even
guy
had
right
Gareth
there,
Bell in line. You have to think about that. You had Gareth
Crazy,
Bell
bro.
in line.
Come on,
You have
bro.
to see how much of a problem was Gareth Bell for Zidane and whatever
Every
have you,
other
right? But
manager.
as soon as Ancelotti came in there,
he was on
there
the
was
team.
none of that, right? So again, commands the respect of the players in the locker room. The guy's been there and done that. And if you want someone to take you to the promised land, he's one of the few coaches that you can honestly say, with this guy, we have a chance.
You know what? And I really do think Brazil needs him, because you need to manage some of the egos that are in Brazil, and there's a special player down there.
Brazil playing the Brazilian way again, and who can do that? I think for sure, 100%.
Well, because he already has 3 of their best players in his back, or 4 of their best players basically already in their ear. Because
but the thing is too,
because Militao, Casemiro, Vinicius, and Rodrigo have already come out and said we'd love for him to be the manager down here.
Bring Marcelo as your assistant too. That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. And you know, Marcelo could probably. I bet you Marcelo's going to manage Madrid in a couple of years. That dude's
they're in a transition phase too, and Brazil's definitely been struggling manager after manager. Nobody's been able to develop and bring up these, top prospects, because they're selling Brazilians still left and right at an all-time high. Everybody's looking for the next Neymar. Everybody's looking for the next Vinicius.
I'm looking for a Brazilian,
and everybody's always in the market, bro. And the problem right now is nobody's developing these brilliant talent, let alone using the quality at the top flight level. Like, you had the hopes this last World Cup because of how much quality was there, but no manager is really able to bring it all together. And that takes, true talent, and nobody's better than Ancelotti at doing that. And he doesn't need to spend $1 billion. He'll take some rundown, old, done players, and he'll run amok. If you go and watch Benzi do work last World Champions, if you don't believe me.
Ramadan Benz. If Ancelotti wins the Copa del Rey, you know what's crazy? They haven't won the Copa del Rey since 2000, since 13. I think they said that Toni Kroos never won the Copa del Rey, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But they've never cared about it. I mean, we've all known the kind of lineups that they've thrown out. Yeah. You've seen some of the lineups that at one point they threw Marcelo at left.
They didn't care about it until Barcelona was a rival. Let's be honest. They didn't care about it.
Yeah.
But they're not going to let Barcelona win it.
So let's just say that Madrid win. If Madrid win Champions League, Copa del Rey, Ancelotti bows out. He goes to Brazil, and he ends up winning the World Cup with Brazil in 2026. Is he now the?
He's already
No,
top ten.
the
There's only 3 coaches. There's only 3.
Ferguson.
Right? And Arsene Wenger, and now Carlos right there. Because Wenger,
You saying Arsene Wenger is top 3 all time?
Listen, because Carlo and Wenger got some random players playing for them doing absolute work, bro. Like, you can't name me 6 players on that Everton team that are still there today when they were running that show over there with Carlo. And then the Milan squad he was running, and the previous Madrid teams.
That's
and
definitely a conversation for another episode, I feel like.
He's quality,
I can go
bro.
on
and
on.
Honestly, you know, I'm just basing off of what I've seen and what I watched. Yeah, were there other coaches that were good, quality previous? Fabio Capello's, you could throw out there Mancini's, you can throw out there Pellegrini's, you could throw so many different coaches, Maestro from Uruguay. There's a lot. Profe, my bad. But when you're looking at, when it's all said and done, results with any player possible, I'm banking. It's the aliens come through, and it's.
I think in the modern era, I think you're absolutely right. I think you say Wenger, you say Ferguson, and you say Ancelotti.
But those are all transition guys, and that's the thing that makes them so great. Is that they're all transition guys that started. It's just the 3 of them. It's,
Eddie, who's your third?
I think my first is Ferguson. I think second, I would go in terms of impact and what he meant for the game. It would have to be Arsene Wenger. He definitely revolutionized England football.
The academy game is nuts.
They laughed at the guy for trying to bring things like nutrition, you know, the pitch being the ways they are now, things like this. Like, he revolutionized the whole game over there, and almost the game in a sense, where back then players were like in my Sunday league team, like, oh, we play a game, let's, you know, crack some beers open,
boom, smoking cigs on the sideline.
You know, like, that's not a thing anymore, right? And that's, you know, largely due to Arsene Wenger and his philosophy and what he brought to the game. And then Ancelotti, he's gone to manage Juventus, Milan, Real Madrid, and you know, he succeeded everywhere, bro. So
everywhere.
Awesome. I think right there, and then, you know, 4 or 5, you know, it's a toss up between Mourinho and Pep, I think, for sure.
You know, and those are quote unquote new generation coaches, but those transitions that those 3 guys went through, when you're talking old school 80s rough players, like late 90s, in those transitions, they were able to survive those decades of football and still maintain a high level and still evolving and growing with the game and giving you the world's absolute best quality players ever. They're all linked to those 3 coaches in one way or another.
It's
you
crazy.
Want to talk Cristiano, you're talking Sir Alex. You want to talk
even Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger wanted him.
You want to talk about super galactical quality players without being quote unquote galactical value transfer.
You tell me a coach right now that's willing to bet his back on starting a 17-year-old Cesc Fabregas. You tell me. You tell me.
It's crazy that in good players end up being good managers in football. That's the only sport. In basketball, you don't see it. In football, you don't see, like, it's literally all the scrubs that end up being good coaches in basketball, football, and here it's like good players.
They gotta do something else. They gotta do something else.
Wait, hold on. Before we go, we do have a question from Dan and Dago. Before we go,
Dan and Dago.
I was waiting for this one. What's the question? He's asking, with this injury that Marcus Rashford has picked up, is it a good thing for Manchester United?
That's not the episode, Dan and Dago. We're sorry about that. We're gonna have to table that.
He's asking JC this question.
You know.
What was the question? My bad.
He said, no, you're good. He said, is Marcus Rashford's injury a good thing for Manchester United or a bad thing?
Well, injuries are never a good thing, but I mean, how much are we gonna miss him? I think is the better question.
There you go.
He's picking and choosing what games he shows up for now.
It's over.
Like, I don't know. I don't get it. But, you know, this, like, you know, consensus says it's just a 1-year show from him.
Says you're blasphemous.
I mean, he's gone 3 years anonymous, but I'm the hater for sure. Whatever.
Well, we appreciate you guys again for checking out another great episode of Compas FC. We will be back tomorrow with another after Real Madrid and Chelsea. And Napoli versus Milan should be 2 good teams squaring up. Again, don't forget to check out everything else on Compas on the Beat. Check out the regular episodes of Compas on the Beat. This week we talk about Anthony Richardson Will Levis and Hendon Hooker. Where do Gilbert and I send them? Plus, Carson Palmer threw a little bit of wood into the fire, saying that he thinks that Joe Burrow is better than Patrick Mahomes at the quarterback position. Don't forget to check out What's Up Bulls. Don't forget to check out House of Horns. We appreciate you guys so much for checking out yet another episode. Thank you guys, and don't forget to be on the lookout for episode 2 of this week's Champions League wrap up with the Compas at Compas FC. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, be a compa, tell a compa. Thank you guys so much.